Good evening. You are tuned in to Spurs Kings TV. Monday night, it's the pitch, and we're back. First edition of the season, and we have our panel back together, minus Marlon for this week because he's on holiday. But let's get the boys out. Sinclair, how's it been going, sir? You good?
Yeah, all good, thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Glad the Premier League's back, even though
Yeah,
it wasn't great for me. But hey, you
we've
take the
all had,
good
we've
times
all
and
had
the
better
heartbreaks
days.
together, didn't you?
We've all had better exactly. We've all had better days. I had my own heartbreak over the weekend, mate. Wasn't good. Wanted to roll into the next weekend as quick as possible, but yeah, unlucky with the boys tonight. Played really well. To be fair, 10 men against Liverpool, but yeah, I just unlucky right at the death, man.
Yeah, very, very frustrating. But let's get our Spurs fan out, our resident referee, Chris. How's it going, mate? You good?
I'm good, man. I think since I was last on here, I've been to Bilbao, celebrated a trophy, and at the weekend, I've been to Manchester City and celebrated our annual victory away to Manchester City. So, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Last but by no means least, Stocky. How's it going?
Right, mate. Yeah. I'm more or less in the same boat as Sink. I think Tottenham should start paying for Chris to go away because he sounds like a bit of a lucky charm at the minute.
No, I
He
have
should
to.
get all comps, mate. All comps, free tickets.
That should be it.
No,
Pay the expenses. Get them expenses paid for Chris to go to
Yeah,
a game.
lucky charm.
Right, but as everybody knows, the pitch is about VAR decisions or refereeing decisions. So we shall get straight into it this week. We have got a list of about six that we're going to go through. Chris is going to give us his verdict of it, and we're all going to have a discussion from there. So let's get into decision number one. It wasn't originally on the list, but that's probably because I realized I missed it out. Euro, slight push on Bassi as
Oh,
he then nods it towards goal in the Fulham Man United game yesterday. From what I can gather, there's a very high bar for this kind of stuff on VAR these days, and as it wasn't given on field, the ref didn't overturn. But has anybody got any real strong views on this decision?
Um, I think like I can't things like that happen in the box all the time, and I think the penalty that Man United did get that Bruno missed was such an obvious one and a bit more extreme that I don't think, and that took a review to get. I didn't think it was a slight push, but things like that happen in the box all the time. Not not too egregious for me, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
for
enough.
for me, I've really am a big stickler for hands in the back. That's always been that as we've been raised on football, that we was told keep your hands out of people's backs, and he's extended his arms, he's impeded Bassi, he's got an advantage. I feel like it should have been a free kick. To be fair,
Okay, yeah, I would tend to agree a little bit with Sync, but it just seems that this is the way that
the game's going now.
the it just seems the way they're refereeing games. Because looking at this, from what I've read, there was only 3 or 4 times last season where they've looked back and they've disallowed a goal on VAR because of a foul in the build up to play. So it's one of them things that they just tend to just go with the referee's judgment on it rather than getting into review. I'm pretty sure it has to be something extremely clear for them to go down that route. But like Sink says, hands in the back, especially when it's two hands and you can see his arms are outstretched there. I've always been sort of in the thought process of that should be a foul, but I suppose they don't really give them a lot of times. I've seen Newcastle benefit from these before as well, so I can't really grumble too much. But Chris, what would you say on this situation?
I mean, you've covered kind of why it wasn't given because it wasn't the
Mm.
world's biggest push, but I'm going to demonstrate that I don't always just back the referees up. I 100% think this should be disallowed. Um, one thing I'll say before I expand on that a little bit is we have to accept with the way the laws are, and just common sense anyway, is that the laws as they're written and the VAR laws mean that you will get inconsistencies. So because we're trying to keep as many decisions on the field and put this high bar in, that means that there's like a grey area in the middle. So basically, you've got three classes of decisions. You've got the really obvious that the referee's decision is correct, really obvious that the referee's decision is wrong, so the VAR will get involved. And in the middle, you've got kind of, well, it could be wrong, it might not be wrong, but they're probably not going to get involved. And that will mean it could go either way. And I think this kind of probably falls into that category. But for me, it's an exact. This is where fans might have a go at me with my personal view. But if that happens, just, I don't know, cross comes in and it's the exact same thing happens at the back post and it goes out for a header or it goes out for a corner or a goal kick. I'm not expecting them to go, oh God, let's give a penalty or anything. But when it's this impactful, like it directly leads to Yoro having the space to score straight away. And it's not the world's biggest push, but Bath is setting himself to jump. So any sort of push then is going to put him off. And you can see that he just can't get up at all. So for me, I can't understand how they are possibly say, we spoke a lot about the contact consequence last season. I can't possibly see how that doesn't have clear consequence for Bassett. I don't know where we are if we're not going to disallow something like that. And the guy who's actually going to prevent the goal can get pushed in the back. I accept it's not the world's worst push, but it doesn't really matter for me. Does it stop him defending the ball? And therefore, does it give Yoro a very clear header, which he fluffed, by the way?
It went down as a Mooney's own goal in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, because it was.
Oh, really?
He just jumped out of nowhere, didn't he? Like almost kamikaze-esque.
Yeah, so I mean it'd be interesting to see what happens in the week because they have this independent key match. What was it KMR key match? Well, I can't remember what the other letter stands for. The key match panel that review every VAR decision that's made up of includes 3 ex-players. It'll be interesting to see what they say. But for me, I'd be absolutely aghast if my centre-back for my team is about to head the ball away and can't because someone pushes him in the back and then heads it into the net. I'm like, what are we doing? So for me, it should be disallowed. But.
Fair enough. Well, we have got a few in agreement there. Yeah, definitely one that I think they need to look at, especially when they go with 2 hands.
I think that's the difference, Mitch, to be fair. You see a lot with attackers and defenders, especially attackers. They'll put their arm out just to kind of protect their own space. And that I think is absolutely fine, even if it's in the back of a player. But when you've then got 2 hands on and there's a clear movement into the back with both hands, that's a push for me.
100% gaining leverage just before he's jumped and all stuff like that. He's definitely gaining an advantage from it. Okay, next one. In the Tottenham game as it goes, Man City Tottenham. Didn't make any difference to the result, but Trafford's come out, gone to get the ball in front of Mohamed Kudus. From this angle, you can see that he's kneed him in the chest. And from this angle, you can just about see he's also handled the ball. Kudus has tried to nick round him. Nothing was given on field, play went on, and not an awful lot was made of it at the time, to be honest. I feel that James Trafford's very lucky here because he's sort of caused 2 infringements at the same time. I got nothing given against him when he could have done. But Stocky, what are your thoughts on it?
Got a need in the chest. I mean, if that's not
to be fair, Stocky probably wants to knee Kudus in the chest himself. So
no, I want him on the butt of the chin, mate. Nah, I mean it's kind of ridiculous how it weren't reviewed because it is dangerous. He's clamped him right in the chest. I find it very odd. I know generally keepers are a bit of a protected species, but that's mad. For things they do look at, I'm not sure how this wasn't. It's very odd to me, and he's only trying to play the ball, but he's totally missed and got someone in the chest. I mean, for God's sake.
Can we just say, though, that comment from Lord Rodney Trotter, who's in a lot of streams with me, come off it. Yeah. It's no
I would say that one is a few levels up.
No near the challenge by the Millwall keeper who basically just assaulted Mateta.
It's a little bit of a hyperbole, that.
Yeah, what are you saying
Um,
on it, Sink? Because for me, it looks a clear foul, and Trafford did come away with the ball, but maybe that's clouded the referee's judgment, and VAR have decided that maybe it wasn't quite enough for a red.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good in the still. In the actual live, it doesn't look great either. So I don't understand how you can just let it go. Really, he's lucky to be on the pitch, because the only thing that you would say is that because Kudos isn't in control of the ball, is he really denying a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity? I think that's a little bit in debate. He's got two covering defenders, so the red card, the straight red for denying or clear obvious, maybe not sufficient enough. But otherwise, I think it should be a free kick, and at the least a yellow card, possibly for the knee in the chest,
Yeah.
not being in total control.
Yeah, I feel there definitely should have been someone there. Someone's just said I need a mic check. Am I coming through clear, or has it gone
Yeah.
low?
I thought you were fine, but you've just faded a little bit with that last comment there.
Oh, weird. Try one more. How's that one? Any better?
Yeah, that one's better.
Cool. We'll leave it there. Hopefully, it doesn't change itself. Hopefully, it stays as it was. I'm not sure there was shades of it, Lord Rodney Trotter. It's the only thing similar is the attacker's going towards the keeper and the keeper's made contact with him. I would say not much outside of that is the same. But yeah, I agree. I think where he's come out to get the ball, he's made a couple of infringements. Maybe it's one of them that's verging on a red, not quite Stonewall, and that's why they've left it as it was. I think if Diaz isn't where Diaz is, it does get reviewed and overturned and straight red. But I think he's just about got away with one there. Over to you, Chris. What do you think about what we've said on this one?
Yeah, it's quite a complex one in a lot of ways. First of all, I'd just like to thank Stocky for selling us Kudus. He's an absolute baller. He's an unbelievable player. Unbelievable. It's amazing how good he is when he is at a club that he wants to play for. But anyway.
give it time, Chris. Give it time.
Yeah, no, to be fair, the transfer window we're having, his motivation will soon go down. Anyway, back to the incident. I mean, one thing I will say is I thought it was absolutely outrageous that the referee couldn't work out that this was at least a free kick. So he gave absolutely nothing. And then about 5 seconds later, Porro's clearly fouled on the edge of the box and he falls into the box, but VAR can't review that because it's out the box. And he misses that as well. And I'm like, what? I thought the ref was really poor in the City game, I have to say, for both teams. I don't know if we're coming on to the Oscar Bob one, but that, anyway. For this one, there's a loads of different things. Cover the handball to start with. I don't. It strikes his arm, but I don't really think it's a handball offence. I think that's an accidental hitting of the ball with his arm. I don't think you can really send him off for that. And besides, what Sink says is potentially true. Even if it was a handball offence, they can only get involved if it's a red card, and then for it to be a red card, he's got to be able to go on and score, which you can debate. I think probably if you take Trafford out of it, Kudus is probably getting to the ball, right? Because he's ahead of the defenders and it's just running on past the keeper. So I think he probably would get there. But I don't think you send him off for that. And that same doubt comes in for the foul in terms of if you're going to send him off for denial of obvious goal scoring opportunity, is it or is it not? But there's another thing you could send him off for, which is serious foul play. But I think on all three measures, he just about gets away with it. Just kind of falls under the bar for all of them. I think it's a really poor challenge, and I think it's an absolute yellow card offence. But I don't think it quite gets to serious foul play because he's not led with his studs or anything. He's gone out to chat, made a really terrible challenge for the ball, and just ended up sort of kneeing him in the chest. Is that like if he'd have studied him in the chest, it's a clear red card for serious foul play. But I think he's just about got away with it. The one thing I would say from this is not in any way a defence of the ref. I'm glad he didn't get sent off because if he had and Edison had come on, there's no way Edison
Yeah.
giant balls up that Trafford makes about 2 minutes later and leads to our second goal.
Yeah.
So I was very pleased with that. It was a very good day out for me. But yeah, I thought the ref was poor. I thought this whole incident was poor. But it's one that's going to split a room, I think, in terms of should VAR get involved. I think you're not going to find unanimity. You really need about sort of, if you've got 100 people in a room, if you're getting 97, 98 agree that VAR should have or shouldn't have, then I'm of the view that, all right, they probably should. If you're less than that, it comes down to opinion. We rightly want to maintain a high bar that if we're not sure and it's debatable, just leave it to the ref on the field. In this case, to make a complete balls up of it like he did. But yeah, if I'm at the VAR, I'm a bit conflicted, but I'm probably of the view that I probably would just leave it. It's hard though, isn't it? When nothing is given, like when it's a free kick's given and he's cautioned him, like happened tonight with Anthony Gordon. It's almost like a bit easier to take them and VAR review it and go, actually, no, we're not going to get involved, or we are going to get involved. When nothing is given, it feels really, really unjust. But you've got to remember that VAR can only go the full one end and recommend a red card, right? They can't really go in the middle. So on that basis, I kind of support what VAR did. Just
I did look for an image of the Oscar Bob one, but I couldn't actually find one, to be honest.
What happened there? Because I didn't watch the game.
I think there was a little bit of a mix-up between Vicario and Van der Ven. Bob nicked in, and then it ran to Haaland, and then there was sort of Van der Ven sort of stood on Oscar Bob's foot, and he went over. Sort of similar to the Max Downham one. But
this is where you get, I don't know if we're going to come to the Max Downham one, but this is where you get inconsistency, and it's inevitable because where there's contact, you're pretty much, unless it's really clear, where there's contact, you're not going to get the VAR intervene and go, it shouldn't be a penalty. Because if there's contact, it's then a subjective decision of how much contact is enough. On the flip side, it's got to be really blatantly obvious and some sort of horrendous foul for VAR to get involved and go, you should give a penalty. Although, I've got to be honest, I have seen the still of Van der Ven just standing on Oscar Bob's foot. I don't think he can have any complaints if the VAR get involved and say, well, that's a foul. I mean, he's literally properly planted his foot on top of Oscar Bob's, right? I didn't even note it at the time, but then I was at the other end of the stadium, so it's kind of hard to. I was also panicking too much about, because that was the one that led to the chance that they should have scored from. But yeah, we're going to see these inconsistencies. It's this is the way that the laws are.
Yeah,
I'm going to agree very much with Lord Rodney.
Go for it then, Stocks, because a pen was given for this one. The referee gave it on the field, and it stuck. VAR had a look. Nothing changed. They gave it. I don't think this is a penalty whatsoever. But what are your thoughts on it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think he's put his foot there. His foot's there, but who's made the contact? I thought only one player's initiated the contact between it and myself, and that's the Arsenal player. Was it given because he was 15? I don't know. It was another one he tried buying not long before, actually. I thought. Or we was talking about it at the time. Didn't he foul the fullback?
Yeah, there was a coming together between him and Goodmanson.
Yeah.
And Downham sort of hung his leg into Goodmanson, caused a foul after Goodmanson had won the ball and got a free kick somehow. Which has made this even more infuriating for me, because I put a message in one of the groups and said he's quickly becoming one of the most protected players in the league, and then he goes and gets this.
I think you can put this in the category of he's won a penalty. Have you noticed commentators say that a lot? Nah.
Yeah.
What used to be concede a penalty because you fouled someone, but now you win penalties. It's very murky, and I didn't think this was a pen myself.
What are your thoughts on it, Sink?
I'd have to agree with Stocky. I don't think it was a pen. And the thing is, for me, I'm very black and white. And I like to be black and white in terms of in the penalty area. Like, if there is contact, even before previously, if there was minimal contact, but you've, slightly impeded an attacking player to get, then I'll be happy for the penalty to be given. I didn't really care about the amount of or the weight of contact. But now that they've brought that in to focus over the last few seasons, And yet they're talking about how much did this impede him. I don't think this contact impeded him at all. I think he's felt the contact, gone down, and really should have probably gone the other direction for simulation. But yeah, there is contact, but it's less than minimal for me, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I think the biggest frustration here is the lack of consistency. Like Chris said before, I have just managed to find an image. So we've got this one being given, and then this is the Van der Ven Oscar Bob one we were talking about previously, which wasn't
Mm,
given at the time.
Oh, crikey, yeah.
yeah.
Excellent
And
description, Chris, now that I've seen
so
it.
now you look at that, it's the inconsistency of how you get the Dalman one being a pen and this not. And the only difference is this one wasn't given by the referee on the field and the other one was, which shouldn't really be the case when you're looking
That
at
shouldn't
decisions
matter.
because, yeah, it shouldn't matter
Referees,
either way.
referees
You just need to
on,
get the
on
right
first
decision. Yeah.
initials can make wrong decisions, but that's what VAR's for, to either clear up the because the game moves so fast, you can't always expect a ref to get every call 100% right, and that's what VAR's for. And it shouldn't be this this unwritten rule or unwritten law that VAR has to agree with the ref all the time. That VAR should be able to step in and say you've missed something, or you have or you haven't. I don't get why they have to agree with each other. That's that's
Yeah,
that's
but
my
then
only.
is this not the point of actually sending the referee to the screen? Like it
No.
doesn't have to be as surely it doesn't have to be as clear cut as right. You're wrong. Go and change your decision. It
Well,
could
it
be
does at the moment. We could debate whether it should be the case, but that's literally what it has to be at the moment. You can't send him there. If you're sending the ref to the screen, by default, you're saying you've got this decision incorrect. You can't
Oh,
go, we're not sure, do you want to have another look? Although what I think is crazy, I don't understand, going back to the Everton penalty of the first weekend against Leeds, it
yeah,
was very clear that the referee didn't have a view of that. So you can see him like listening to the assistant for advice before he gives the penalty, and then VAR have a look at it and don't overturn it. So the referee has not had a second look at that at all. I think it's mental in that situation where the referee knows he's not got a view of it, that the ref can't say, I don't know. Can I go and have a look myself? I think that's absolutely nuts. But
yeah.
that is the way it's written at the moment.
And I think it's frustrating again on top of that because you look at something like rugby, and the ref actively looks. He asks, "Oh, can I have another look?" Or he's asking the
Mm.
VAR, like, "What is your opinion? What can you see?" And he's looking for black and white answers for a game which you're talking about. I think what they're judging in terms of the physicality movements that they're judging are way more subjective, but they're not treated like that in rugby. They look at, is there this sort of contact? Yes, there is. It's black and white, and then the ref just makes a decision. And I don't understand why the same can't be in football. Why can't the ref ask VAR, is there this contact? It's very
Yeah.
minimal. Might want to have a look.
I'd have no problem with that, but I know from my days as a ref, I'm not massively 100% sure of a lot of decisions. So you never want to be the ref who has the opportunity to have another look, doesn't take it, and it's wrong. So I think what you'd find is refs would be doing that all the time for almost everything. Going, can I just have another look to make sure? And then the game takes forever. So there is a difficulty there with that.
Yeah, there is that because football has to have a certain flow where rugby is broken up, where they can stop and there's a lot of penalties given for certain breaks, scrums, this, that, and the other. Whereas in football, it flows a lot more. But I just feel that on those big key decisions, big things where you didn't quite see it, just have a look. It shouldn't be a thing, but you know, hopefully it changes going forward because otherwise, the VAR's just going to get on people's nerves when it shouldn't.
yeah.
The part of the problem is though that a lot of things in football don't have a correct decision, right? There's no definitive. This is a foul. It's not a foul. It's about opinion. And I mean, it makes me laugh. Again, going back to that Everton penalty at Leeds, people go mad about, oh, we should have players in the VAR room. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but the row they had on Sky Sports between some of the ex-players going, well, it's definitely a penalty, and some of the ex-players, well, it's definitely not. I don't get I don't get why should the players be in there, because a room of players. The only way that works is if you're telling me that a room of referees are all indecisive and going, well, I'm not sure, that's 50-50. But somewhere else, there's a room of 100 players and we're all going, oh, well, that's clearly one thing. That's just utter nonsense. Football is just subjective, and players have different opinions, the same as referees and fans. So I don't think that would particularly work. But back to the Dowman one. I mean, one thing I would say is when you're running at a pace, right, kind of anything can knock you off your balance. So it was very minimal. I suppose that the question I'd have is what is my role on the show? Do you want me to give you the VAR view, or do you want me to give you whether I think it's a foul or not? And we need to be clear that those two things are different, right? Because whether you think it's a foul or not is one thing. But from the VAR's perspective, once they've looked at that and see there's contact, they're not going to say it's clearly and definitely and obviously wrong, right? Because it's then the question of how much contact does there need to be? And there's no definitive answer to that question. It's all opinion. So if the referee's seen it and there is contact and the referee's opinion is it's a penalty, the VAR is not going to ever get involved, really. It's only going to get involved in two scenarios there. One where there's absolutely no contact, or one clearly where Ashley Young was the expert at this, where the leg has come out and gone into the defender at a completely unnatural angle. Ashley Young used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not really happened here. So just that's where I'm in a difficult spot, because I have to defend the VAR and say I would not expect VAR to get involved with that Dowman one whatsoever, because it's not clearly and obviously wrong. That's not the same as saying it's not wrong, if you know what I mean.
Totally get what you're saying. We have just had a raid. I just about missed the name. It looked like it said Jason Wallerand. But yeah, we've just had an influx of people come over from his channel. Apologies if I've got the name wrong there. It flashed up on the screen and I missed exactly what the name was. But thank you, whoever that was. Okay, next one. This is from the Brentford Aston Villa game. Brentford player goes up for the ball with Martinez. Ball then drops back out to Damsgaard, who scores. Goals disallowed for a foul on the goalkeeper. It looks a bit of a soft one, but I believe the referee gave this on field and then it stayed with VAR. VAR had a look at it and stayed with the decision that they had on the pitch. I think the main controversy in this one is that we saw this incident last week in the Man United Arsenal game, which is very similar. And again, we got a different decision. So it's another case of varying decisions from very different things. But what are your thoughts on the Brentford one for a start, boys?
When I saw this one, I didn't even. I was first looking for where was the foul. I was looking for the foul in live play, and then when they even played it back, I was like, he's just been competitive and committed to the ball. He hasn't really impeded. He's got up early. I don't really think he overly used his arms. He may have smartly placed his arms, but you're taught that, especially a centre half back in the day, you lead with your arms, try and get leverage over your opponent and get on his shoulder to get up. But as long as you're up in the air first, I don't see a problem with that. And I feel like Martinez has probably gone to approach the ball from the wrong position and got underneath everybody rather than, coming from further out to try and get on top of him, because, he's got his hands. He's just jumped from the wrong position, really. They haven't really impeded Martinez. For me, I feel like Martinez has impeded himself by starting from the wrong position. But yeah, when I first saw it live, I didn't see the foul in the first initial play, so I didn't think it was a foul. I thought it was a little bit harsh, to be fair, from my opinion.
Yep, fair play. And he also, from this, Martinez is jumping into Morgan Rogers.
That's what I mean. He's just started from the complete wrong position. He wants to start further out, try and get a little bit of airtime, use his hands, and either pat the ball away or try and catch it.
Yeah,
but, yeah,
crazy, really crazy. What are your thoughts on it?
Completely wrong approach from Martinez.
Mate, that's a great little insight on the jumping of keepers there, Sink. I really like that. He is in the totally wrong position. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the ref is in relation to this incident, because depending where he's standing and where he views it, where Martinez's jump is so bad, he thinks that someone's impeded the jump and why he's giving it. But yeah, from there it's like night and day. But no, he may not have had such luxury as to see that, and he may be, because we do all see it a lot, don't we? A keeper will go into a crowd, and they'll get it a lot of the time. I think it's harsh myself, but this picture, you don't really know where the ref is. So, from what his angle, he may have just genuinely thought he was fouled, like his jump was impeded. But we're fortunate enough to see no, it was just a crap jump from a sometimes overrated keeper.
Nice little dig on Martinez there at the end.
Oh, mate, I've got all the rage. Just point me and I'll do it in a minute.
Fair enough. Right. Over to you, Chris. What are your thoughts on this? And how comes we've ended up with two different decisions from this decision and the one in the Arsenal Man United game last weekend?
To be honest, I thought Stocky made quite a good point, which we often don't even think about, which is, referees have got one opportunity to make a decision. They're all from standing in different angles. No two decisions are the same. So it can be really misleading. You literally got to make a decision like that. I'd be really surprised if any of us who've been to football matches haven't been absolutely convinced something happened, and then we watched the replay when we got home and gone, actually, it was completely different to what I thought, right? I mean, the referees, though, have got to put their opinion on the line there and then within a second. So it's quite tough. I mean, for me, I didn't think there was a lot in it. I actually thought the Arsenal one was more of a foul, really, if anything, like the previous week. But this is what you're going to get. You are going to get inconsistency from a VAR perspective, because VAR is going to look at that. And the referee has disallowed the goal. So VAR is looking at it, and it's got to be a clear and obvious error. So where there is contact with, is it Neil Collins, I think, and Martinez, it's really difficult where the contact for the VAR to get involved and say it's an obvious error. I don't like the decision. I think it was really, this is where I think the referees, there will be inconsistency, but the referees have to get in a room, as they do. And these are the type of decisions that they should just be replaying over and over and trying to come to a consensus between them of what is a foul and what isn't a foul. There'll always be inconsistencies because no two incidents are the same. No two referees have got the same opinion of what a level of meaningful contact is. All the angles are different, but the onus is on them to try and get as much consistency as possible. So yeah, it doesn't help when you've got decisions one week that's not given and then the next week it's disallowed for it. But yeah, for me, the preferable decision is that was just a really badly judged jump by Martinez. I think he's extremely lucky to get away with that. But again, similar to what I said, I guess, on the last one, I suppose what I'm saying is mildly defensive of the VAR, that they didn't get involved, because I can see why. There is some contact there, and it's very hard then when you've got this high bar of saying it's blatantly, obviously wrong. I can kind of defend them for not getting involved, but even so, I think probably the decision's incorrect for me, really.
Okay, fair enough. Quick last little note on this. Apparently, last year the KMI panel didn't log a single error for a challenge on a goalkeeper, but it did say on one decision that the referee was wrong to rule out a goal in the Newcastle Ipswich game. So, and they, whoever's written this believes they might see a similar judgment on this, but I don't see how that is possible for a panel to say it's not an error, but the referee was wrong.
Well, they vote on two different things. So there's 5 people on the panel, and they vote should the VAR have intervened, and then they vote do they think the referee's decision was correct.
See, interesting.
Okay. That is, that's.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, so in a weird world, you can get 5-0 saying the VAR shouldn't have intervened, but we all think the referee got it wrong anyway. It's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible.
That is absolutely bonkers.
Clear as mud.
That's even more confusing to me now because I still haven't screwed my head back on from Liverpool getting a last-minute winner. So I fully can't comprehend that. But on to the next one. Brighton, Everton. Everton got a penalty. No, Everton have had 2 penalties given against them for handball in 2 games now. This one is Yakubu Minter taking a shot. Dewsbury Hall comes out to close him down, and it hits his hand as he has a shot. For me, the Tarkovsky one previously was Stonewall. This one is a little bit less clear cut for me, but I think it's just about still a pen. But Stocky, what are your thoughts on it?
Um, this is a tricky angle because I think I saw it once, like sort of like the live one of it, and I was like, oh, it seemed quite close, but could be the first time I've said it this year. The silhouette. I don't know. I don't really know where it was. Look, if it's given as a penalty now, you'd like to think it'd be given as a penalty consistently. That's it. I'm not. If it weren't given, I didn't think it'd be too egregious. But the referees give it as long as it's a consistent thing, as we like. The dream is, but it's not as easy as that. But as long as it's consistent through other teams and other games, then we know where we are. It's just that it gets confusing if it was someone else doesn't give it a week or 2 later. That's when it gets all a bit sticky for me. But yeah, if it's a pen, I'm all right. Say that's a pen. But yeah, just keep it the same, and we'll all be happy, I suppose. Well, whoever's conceded it will grumble, but it's tough shit, isn't it?
Someone's always not going to be happy
That's
some
sport.
decisions. Yeah, it's just the nature of football, unfortunately. But stocks, Sink. What are you saying on this one? Because I think he's slightly unlucky here, although.
Yeah, I thought this was really harsh. To be fair, he's come out and made a genuine attempt to block the ball. It's at point blank range. I don't even know the amount of time he's got from Minter's foot to his arm to actually react. He definitely hasn't got enough time to move his arm out of the way. And again, it's not like he's just kept his arms close to his body. I thought that was what you're allowed to do. But yeah, I thought this was a bit harsh. To be fair,
Yeah,
I think if it doesn't hit his arm nail, it's going to hit his body, right?
It looks to be
No.
from this angle, but
No.
is it not?
No, if he doesn't handle it, the shot's going on goal.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That
See,
does
look,
slightly
silhouette's
change
important. I said it.
does slightly change
Yeah,
things.
again, but his arms are tight to his body. So again, I say it's still harsh, but is what it is.
So, Chris, over to you. Because is there not some kind of wording in the laws that say deliberately making your frame bigger or something along them lines?
Yeah, yeah, and it does create controversy because my interpretation of that is there so that, let's say you're blocking a cross, you can't just stand there like this, right?
Yep.
And then going, well, hold on, I didn't move my hand to the ball. We're like, well, what the hell is your hand doing there? So I think that's what that's designed to prevent. So I mean, I'm not sure you could go down that route. I'm not sure he's deliberately made his frame bigger. That said, the second it happened, I thought would be given a penalty without any question because his arm isn't by his side. His arm's out in front of him like that. I've got some sympathy because it is quite close. I think a big factor here is something that's not written in the law at all. So this is complete conjecture. But as Sink was just saying, is it going to hit his body or not? The answer is no, right? This was a shot going in on goal, and he's turned and done that, and it's hit his arm. And if it wasn't for that, literally the keeper's going to have to make a save. And I think that subconsciously plays a part in the referee's decision-making process. You can't validate something where a defender has his arm out in front of him and essentially making a save to a shot, which is what's happened. You can't. If we're saying that is okay, I think we're going to end up with some real controversial decisions throughout the season. So the second that happened, I thought without any question, it would be given. I think it would not be given if his arm was down by his side. I feel for him a little bit because in his turning motion, your arm is going to come out there, right? So in a sense, it's natural, but I mean, you can see from the still, like I'm just looking at it now, like his hand's up there. I mean, can we really say that that's a completely natural position? But the fact that it's out in front of him and it's not by his side and the fact that it's going to be a result in a shot on goal, I think really does for him here. So I was very, very confident that I'd be given the second I saw it. I don't know if we want to discuss it, but the Tarkovsky one, I was surprised you said that, Mitch, because I think most people have landed on the side of it's not a penalty. But that one for me was far, far more controversial. Although I still think it's a penalty kick, but
I think it's because his body's outside of his frame and he's deliberately leaning in to block the ball and it hits his arm. Because if he wraps his arm behind his back, the shot goes past his body.
What that comes down to, I find the conversation quite funny, but it is a referee mindset versus maybe a defender's mindset. The defence for him has been, well, it wasn't deliberate. I would say, well, it is deliberate. So, but it depends on what you mean. He didn't deliberately go, I know, I'm going to handle this with my... But what player ever does that for any handball? What he has done, he's deliberately moved into the path of the shot, right? If he stands still, it just goes past him. So he's deliberately moved his body into the path of his shot. He's in his head, he's thought, I'll try and get my shoulder there or my chest there. And he's got that wrong. But that doesn't make it not a deliberate action. He's still deliberately moved his arm there, and the ball's come from miles away. So I was shocked a little bit by the discussion around Tarkovsky. For me, it's a penalty. I actually gave one very similar to that in a cup final many years ago. But yeah, for me, it's really clear cut, because if you say, oh no, he didn't mean to, he meant to do it with his chest. Well, we're never giving any handball ever, are we? What player ever goes, you know what, I'm going to go and handle this? That never happens, does it?
Maybe Suarez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now and again it happens, I would say.
On the line, maybe it happens. But you know what I mean, though? Generally, like 99% handballs, the player's not thought, I'm going to play this with my arm. That's not what deliberate really means in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think the positioning of his arm and as he leans in to block the ball kind of does for him here. If he's standing up straight and he hasn't leant into it, then
you know what that is? That's a little bit of kidology and dark arts that he's trying, because his arm's behind his thigh. You know, he would probably argue, but my arm's behind my body. But I'm just trying to, as you say, if his arm was behind his back, like you said, Mitch, it just flies past him. But I think he would have been a little bit smart and tried a bit of dark arts and kidology to get inside the keeper's good graces. I mean, the ref's good graces.
Well, that's the other main defence I've seen, is that people have gone, well, what do you expect him to do? Not defend it? Well, if the alternative is to handle it, then yes, I expect him to not defend it. Like, I genuinely, from a referee's point of view, don't really understand. I kind of do understand the outrage, because of when you watch it, it's not like his arm's miles out, right? But for me, I think as well, he was a bit disingenuous in the interview after the game, where he's kind of gone, oh my God, how can you give this? Because for me, I always think you can see a lot by player reaction. And I think on the night, you could see it in his face that he knew that was going to get given against him when it was when it went to VAR and whatever. He knew he wasn't going to get away with it. I agree.
If you got any part of his sleeve on there, so say he got like his sleeve halfway down the ball, center diameter of the ball, and it's half on his sleeve and half on his arm, would that still be a pen, or would that be?
Yeah. So that for me is his only argument. Is, was it the hand, or was it the part of his arm that's penalizable? Is that even a word, or have I just made that up? But anyway, but it's not the shirt sleeve. People think it is the shirt sleeve, but it's actually level with your armpit. So it's more like on me here, that's definitely handball, but level with your armpit's kind of more up there. So, but again, that's subjective. There's no definitive line, and even if there was a definitive line, you're now talking about millimeters of, did it touch the line or not? Like it becomes a forensic science, all of this, which is where people get pissed off with the laws of the game. So it's a fair question. I think it does hit him down far enough for it to be a handball offence. But again, that is a subjective thing as well. So if you were going to say that you don't think it is, I can't really say definitively it's not. It's just opinion of, is it far enough down or not? But I think the main argument was about the deliberateness of it, which I can't get my head around it. Of course it's deliberate. It wasn't going to hit him and he's moved in the way of the ball. How can that not be deliberate? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's the boat I'm in as well, to be fair. Right, we have one more decision for this evening. Might be quite fresh in people's memories for those that watched the game today. Yeah, Anthony Gordon on Van Dijk. He's gone to close down Van Dijk clearing the ball. He's made a right hash of it and got Van Dijk down at the back of his calf. It was a yellow card on the field. VAR reviewed. Anthony Gordon gets sent off. As you can tell by the tone of my voice, I have no argument for what's happened here.
Yeah.
It's a very good use of VAR for me, but
Yeah.
Stucky, Sink, anything different from there?
Go ahead.
No, absolutely. Like, do you know what? When I first saw it live, I was like, that's a booking. That's daft. And then I saw it again. I was like, oh, that was a bit higher than I thought. And then, like, obviously, you see jizz down his calf. It's a poor challenge. Do you know what? I can see why the ref gave a yellow, first of all. I can see why VAR said, I think you need to have a look at this. I think it's just well applied from the refereeing team. If you're in the ground, I can see why you'd start complaining about the referee, but no complaints about any of it, really. Just Gordon's a bit of a fucking dope for doing it on the stroke of half time. What a prat.
Yeah, I'm not even going down the. It's just mistimed. It's just poor judgment of a tackle. He hasn't got in to do him. He hasn't swung an arm. He hasn't done anything sort of out of the ordinary. He's just closing down and got his angle of his tackle ever so slightly wrong for me. But yeah, he deserved to go. As soon as you put studs on someone's calf, you're off.
Oh yeah, it hurts, doesn't it?
Simple as that. Yeah, especially when you're running at the speed that he runs as well.
Yeah. And I think just leading off from you there, Mitch, I think that's what stunned him is the speed at which he actually flew into the tackle. Well, not necessarily covering the ground. I thought he did that really well and putting pressure on Van Dijk to rush his long diag. But yeah, his actual approach, he dived in off 2 feet, out of control, studs down the back, left graze on the back of his calf. To be fair, it's lucky that Van Dijk didn't come off with a serious injury and straight red. And yeah, so it's unlucky really because he was giving in a good performance along with everyone else, and I mean would have probably had a different result had he been on the pitch for the second half as well. But yeah, a little bit overzealous, a little bit too excited. These things happen. He's got to go.
Yep. I fully agree with all of that. Chris, I'm not sure there's even really anything much else to add, to be fair.
No, although I think this is everyone loves to bash VAR, but you've got to praise VAR here because when it happened, even me watching it, I didn't really think, "Oh, that's a red card." I was the same as Stocky. I thought that's not a good challenge. That and the yellow card, I thought that was it. I was really surprised when it came up checking red. In fact, when it came up checking red card, I thought, what are they wasting their time for? But then when you actually see it properly, yeah, I mean, Newcastle, unlucky for Newcastle, right? But not unlucky for Gordon. I mean, this is where players have got to take responsibility. And so that is an absolute shocker of a challenge that could have seriously injured Van Dijk. So, and it's also an interesting one from the point of view where 99% of VAR things, when you go and watch the monitor, it looks worse because it's in slow-mo, right? This one's the complete opposite. Like it looks a lot. When you actually see it played at normal speed, you realise how bad it actually was.
Yeah,
in slow mo, it doesn't look as bad, bizarrely. But yeah, the mark down the back of Van Dijk's calf shows you what an absolute shocker of a challenge it was. So just crazy head loss. I think that's an example of. That usually comes, in my experience, from something else. There's usually an origin somewhere else. And usually it's, I don't know because I don't remember. But when I see this, it's normally a reaction to something that's happened 10, 15 seconds ago where maybe they feel there's an injustice. And then they're like, right, I'm going to get the ball back or whatever. I don't know because I haven't seen it. But that's just my experience of quite often it's players just temporarily have got something in their head where they've just lost it and seen red for a minute, and then they go and lunge in, and then you've got to send them off. So, but yeah, there's no one's going to have any arguments, are they? So, yeah, fair play though. I don't know who was on VAR tonight, but it was a good. You've got to know to check. Like, you can't check every single challenge in the whole game because you'd be there forever. So, there's got to be something in it that makes you think we should have a look at that. And I didn't see that initially, so credit to whoever was on the VAR for checking it.
Yep. Right. Normally we have a second subject to roll into, but where the game was on, I completely forget to line something up. But one thing I think people will probably be a little bit curious of Chris, is the new 8-second rule.
Yeah.
That has come in, and I've seen it applied both ways in the first 2 game weeks. So we saw, I think it was Burnley gave away a corner because of it, because the goalie had his handball in his hands for too long. And tonight, the bit I didn't realise about it is, if a player is blocking the goalie for a certain amount of time, the referee tells the goalie to put the ball on the floor and take a free kick.
Well, there's a couple of things there. So the law, for anyone who doesn't know, the old 6-second rule has gone because it was never enforced. Basically, why that was, I think, is the punishment didn't really fit the crime. So the punishment was an indirect free kick in the area. And then you usually end up with these terrible situations as a ref of trying to control someone taking a free kick. It's indirect, so they can't shoot. So they'd have to knock it to a teammate who shoots. And then you see all the players lined up on the goal line between the posts. Fortunately, I can't remember the last time I saw that. But it's a nightmare from a refereeing point of view, trying to control that. So referees just didn't really give it. So what's the point of the law being there? So they did a few trials and they came up with this, which is an 8-second, but it's not just 8 seconds from the moment the keeper handles the ball. It's 8 seconds from the moment the referee deems they're in control of it. And that, in control of it, I'd change that maybe from 8 seconds from the moment in which they're able to release it is probably a better way. Because if they've gone like full length and caught it, you can't start counting while they're midair holding the ball, right? It doesn't make any sense. And that links into what you were just saying, Mitch. If someone's standing in front of them, trying to sort of make it worse for them, then that's not really fair to start an 8-second countdown when they're like, well, hold on a minute, he's in my way. So it's from that. That's why you'll see some inconsistency, I guess, because there's no definitive starting point. It's up to the ref. But the ref will count to 8. But once he gets to 3, he's supposed to hold his hand up then like that and then count down the seconds that way. So there's a visual representation. It's interesting that the Burnley one was against Tottenham. Still, he held it for 14 seconds, so it was still a long way over the 8. And then the sanction for that is a corner kick, right? So that you don't have that silly managing of the. What you are doing with the indirect free kick is you're giving a direct, like a really clear goal scoring opportunity just for the keeper holding on for the ball for a second too long. So it was a bit unfair, really. So I don't think we'll see this that much, if I'm honest. I think keepers will get used to it and they'll get used to dishing it out, getting rid of the ball quicker. I don't think there's any need particularly to. It always has been an offence to sort of block the keeper in their attempts to get rid of the ball. So you could have always given an indirect free kick for that. So that's not really changed. But yeah, you can just delay the countdown. So I don't really think there's any need. I suppose, though, rather than just delaying the countdown and trying to manage the attacker, if the attackers got used to just saying, just get out of his way, and if you don't, it's a free kick, soon they would learn and they would stop doing that as well. So I think laws that stop things happening in the first place are really positive. So this should be a positive. I'm actually going to, it's just reminded me of something else. I'm going to sort of segue and I'll let you bring it back onto where you want it to be, Mitch. But what was the game? The Palace disallowed goal against Chelsea last week. Where the Palace player went, the Palace player went into the Chelsea wall. I've seen so many people react to that law as well, saying it's a ridiculous law, and I couldn't disagree more because it's an example of really positive law changes. So this has been in since 2019. You've got to be 2 yards away from a wall. A wall is considered to be in formation when there are 3 players there standing to defend the goal, and the attackers then have got to be 2 yards, I think it is, away from it. and people are going to ridiculous law. Well, I'm sure we all remember before that law came in, the jockeying and nonsense you got, the pushing and the holding and all of that at the walls, right? Because the attackers were trying to get in there. And have we seen any of that for 5 seasons? I don't think we have. I think it never happens anymore, which is an example of a really positive law change, which the way to do that was to say, right, you've got to be 2 yards away from the wall. And it's taken one disallowed goal in 6 years for that rule. And now loads of people are like, what a terrible law. I'm like, well, it's not, is it? It's been an absolutely brilliant law. And that, it was correctly enforced on that. The problem is where you get inconsistency, right? And referees haven't necessarily consistently enforced it. That's a different conversation. But trying to link the two things together, both of those things, I think, are an example of positive law changes that are trying to prevent problems from occurring in the first place. So I think it's a good thing. Let's give it a go. I don't expect it to be used because I think it will have the desired effect that keepers will just get used to it and will get rid of the ball quicker.
Yeah, fair enough. There was an occasion though in the game today that the referee just told Allison just to put it down and take a free kick, and I was confused. So is that not actually part of the law? He's just this.
I didn't see it, so I can't comment on the individual incident. So it's very hard to say.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Mitch, because I did wonder as well whether or not it was given for a free kick. I think the first time I saw it was Arsenal last weekend, where they like actively jockeyed the keeper to try and slow down the 8 seconds. And I was like, oh, that's a shock, isn't it? And then Gordon was kind of doing the same thing. But both times I've saw the ref just say, go away. Like, I'm not going to start till you like let him try and play the ball. So, but yeah, I would like to know why Allison put the ball down and then was not sort of encroached
The
by
ref
Gordon.
literally told him to. The ref pointed to put it down. He put it down. Gordon went to close him down. The referee told him to go away, and Allison just took a free kick.
Sadly, it's so niche, I don't think we're ever going to find out.
No, we're probably not.
We're just going to live in mystery until it really kicks off about it.
I have no issue if he did that, though, because it's always been an offence to block the goalkeeper when he's trying to release the ball. So
yeah, I've been done for that.
So I have no problem with it, really. In fact, arguably, you can argue either way, which is the preferable way of dealing with it. You would stamp out players blocking the keeper more if you gave a free kick for it. But if you give a free kick for it every time, you're delaying the play more and you're holding the game up. And people are like, oh, why is he doing it? Why can't he just let play carry on? We haven't come here to watch the ref. So it's like, well. But both of those decisions are perfectly fair for the referee just to go, do what you like, mate. I'm not going to start counting to 8 while you're standing there in his way. That's perfectly fine. And the other one just going, well, just give a free kick. Also, it's preventing a problem, right? It's good refereeing. It's preventing. Don't let him try and take it when someone's there trying to block him. Just stop it from happening. Go, right, free kick, mate. You can. And that way, he's going to bugger off, and he's got to be 10 yards away. So there is one other. While we're here on law changes, there's one other one that we might see happen. There's a few minor things, but probably the main other one that is that if you have a double touch when you're taking a penalty kick, that's an offence and it's an indirect free kick. So it would you wouldn't even get a retake. But they've changed that now. Was it in one of the finals in the penalty shootouts at the end of last season? Obviously not the Europa League final because we didn't need penalties to win that. So, but it was it must have been. In fact, none of them went to penalties. So I can't remember what game it was.
It must have been World Club Cup.
I remember the penalties. Someone double hit it, didn't they?
Yeah. Maybe it was a 17. But yeah, if you accidentally have a double hit of the ball because you've slipped, then you'll get the opportunity to have a retake. It was Atletico Madrid, wasn't it? Because it was Alvarez.
Yeah, that's the one.
I remember that. Yeah. It was Alvarez who did it, and so yeah, his goal didn't count in the shootout. But that's now been changed. So if you do see an accidental double touch, then that will be a retake.
Yeah, I like that.
We actually saw that in the Women's Euros. I'm pretty sure in one of the shootouts, one of the
English. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
it happened in the that's correct.
Yeah, I think she missed the retake as well.
Yeah, she missed the retake. Yeah.
Well, I won't say anything about the women's penalties.
Main thing is they won.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't knock him for that.
The only thing I was going to ask on law changes, to be honest, Chris, is the captain's only one.
Yeah, we've seen this before as well. So it's kind of come around again. I'm in too much. Generally speaking, I think most people would regard it as a positive thing. I have no issue with it. I think, just thinking as a kind of referee coach, my advice to referees would still be to go and talk to whoever you need to talk to. It's not designed to stop the referee, right? It's designed to stop the players. So only the captain can talk to the. It's actually optional. So it's optional for whether the competitions want to enforce this or not. So you guys playing like in local leagues and that, it may be enforced, it may not. You'd need to look at your competition rules. But if it is in place, then it should be only the captain that speaks to the ref. And my advice to referees would always be, there is a captain somewhere in the team, but it's not always the guy with the armband. Like, the one who's going to help you out the most isn't always the captain. So you need to find, as a referee, who is your ally on the pitch and who you can get to help you control some of their teammates. That isn't always the guy with the armband. Like, I'd probably flag up Bruno Fernandes as an example of a captain I would. I mean, ref criticism is reaching a new level when we're saying that the reason Bruno Fernandes missed a penalty because the ref accidentally knocked him. And then afterwards, Bruno Fernandes going, well, he didn't apologise. I'm like, what is this? Don't get me wrong, I don't see why in that moment the ref didn't just go, oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. But the fact that he didn't, like, this is an adult sport. Are we really going to cry about that after the game? He's probably spent all game telling the ref that he's an F in this and an F in that. And then after the game goes, oh, he didn't apologise when he bumped into me. I'm like, oh.
But the thing is, they bump into each other. Neither of them are looking.
Yeah.
And they bump into each other. It's
well,
not like
that was the other thing.
Into Bruno.
There's no appetite for sympathy to a ref. But in theory, the ref could just come out and go, yeah, well, I was just doing my normal patrol of the area and he bumps into me. Like, you know, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, one of them things. We haven't got any more ref talk.
What about our season expectations? We all support different teams, right?
I was going to roll on to that about how we think the first 2 weeks have gone. Has anybody kind of changed their thoughts on what they think might be happening in the Premier League over the first 2 weeks? But yeah, it would be good to hear what people expect from their own clubs, to be fair. I know Stocky's thoughts of his own club have probably changed after the first 2 weeks.
I have changed, to be honest.
Somehow we're even worse than I anticipated. But no. I'll save my West Ham breakdowns for through the season. So, you know, keep all these Tottenham boys entertained with me, with us being perilously shit.
Yeah.
I should have sent the. Maybe I'll do it after into our little group chat. I've got the audio from the weekend of the Spurs fans singing. Can't start a fire without a spark. Kudus is on fire. He hates the team from Upton Park.
Yeah,
he's been amazing for us so far.
Yeah, no, he's been fantastic.
Well, it was for us to start as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, on Spurs so far, I've been. We've just got a proper manager, guys. Oh my god, the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not shooting yourselves in the foot anymore, and it's almost worth 10 pages.
We have been a bit of an embarrassment in the transfer window. Let's be honest. We've really made an arse of ourselves on numerous occasions, and we're now running around Europe trying to desperately find players. It is absolute shambles the way we've conducted ourselves in the transfer window. I think there's only really one person to blame for that. That's a different story. That said, I still think we've made the best signing of the transfer window, which is not Mohamed Kudus. It's getting Thomas Frank in. I think it's unbelievable. The different formations we've already seen, the way we went toe-to-toe with PSG, couldn't quite get over the line, which is really unfortunate. Then we line up with a more attacking flat back four. So it's 5 against PSG, an attacking back four against Burnley, a more defensive, cautious back four against City. I thought they were superb. And I still think we're in for a long, hard season at Tottenham because we've got a really small squad. We have no number 10. We don't have a meaningful left winger. And we've got a lot of games coming up with the Champions League. But I'll just summarise Spurs' start with I got a text from my best mate as a Man United fan after the game, and he said, "I didn't see it. How did they play?" And I replied with, "I'm just literally going to call it up now while I talk to you because I think this sums it up." I replied with I can't find it. So I replied with something like, I've got it here. So I'm talking about Tottenham. I said, I thought they were top class, mate. They fought for everything and gave them absolutely nothing. Win or lose, that's all you can ask for. So I'd have been fine if we'd have lost on Saturday because the way we played, they absolutely fought for every ball, didn't make any stupid mistakes. We weren't making 40-yard sprints back towards our own goal 20 times a game. In fact, I don't think we did that at all, really. Everyone playing in positions where they should be playing. Honestly, it's a breath of fresh air. I just feel like, results aside, I feel like I've got my Tottenham back. Whereas last season, I was going to games devoid of any hope because I knew what was going to happen every week. Now I'm going there thinking we've got Bournemouth on Saturday. I could live with us losing, because as long as we're going there and we're playing sensible football and we're trying really hard, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right? But we're doing it in a sensible, structured way. I think the players are enjoying it a lot more as well. Whereas you can say what you like, the Spurs fans to me, but I don't think they believed in Ange at the end at all. I think they jacked it in. They knew it was just a load of old nonsense. You can see it in the player interviews as well now. Some of them coming out. Vicario said about how enjoyable it is about having to make different decisions to adapt for different situations, not just doing the same thing every time. Brennan Johnson came out and said he's enjoying working for a manager that respects defending. I don't think they're intended to be digs at Ange, but indirectly, I think they are. I think we'll be in for a tough season, if I'm honest, but I'm just so glad that we've got a decent manager. And if I could have one signing happen for the end of the transfer window, my absolute dream is that Nuno gets sacked and Nottingham Forest appoint Ange Postecoglou as their manager. I would love that to happen. I would love it. I would take no attacking midfielder at Tottenham just to see Ange Postecoglou ruin Nottingham Forest. That would be great.
Fair play, fair play. There seems to be a lot of Nottingham Forest hate coming in at the minute. So yeah, interesting.
Well, their manager even hates their owner. So,
so where do you reckon Tottenham will finish this season then?
I mean, that's easier to answer this time next week when I know who we've signed. Right now, our squad is so thin. I reckon, I'll do you a full prediction. I reckon we will have very, very short cup runs because we'll be knackered and we'll need to rotate with players that we can't afford to play decent players in the cups. I think in the Champions League, we'll probably finish in the playoff like 8th, 9th to 24th. We may or may not get through the playoff. And if we did, we'd get knocked out in the last 16. I would have thought. I'd be surprised if we didn't get through the league at all. And in the actual league, based on where we are right now and with our squad, I think we could beat anybody like we saw at the weekend. But I think as the other competitions get going, they're going to be really knackered and they're going to put in some tired performances. So I would say based on what we have today with no other signings, I'd expect us to finish maybe about 8th. If we can get 2 or 3 decent players, like if we'd have got Eze and Savio, which was what I was expecting if you'd asked me a week ago, I'd be saying that we could be 4th or 5th. But we need 2 or 3 really top quality players, and I think all the top quality players have gone now. We've done what Tottenham do. We've left it too late in the window. There's only one I think might be possible to get that I'd love to get, and it's going to annoy Stocky even more. But with no number 10s available, if we could get Paquetá out of West Ham, I think it'd be brilliant for Spurs. But we'll see.
Fair play. Stocky has literally not moved at all after your quite manic result this weekend. Sink. What are your hopes for QPR?
We're going to be mid-table, mediocre. Survival will be fine. This happens, 7-1 is nothing. Next week, we could go and beat someone, clean sheet. Who knows? Just keep your. But as long as we're mid-table or even like top of the bottom, I don't mind. As long as we're not in relegation nation, we can't really go out and buy anyone. So I don't expect anything really from us in terms of playoffs or anything like that. So Championship is a whole another kettle of fish. But in terms of the Premiership, I'm waiting a couple. Well, yeah, wait until the international break and see what happens. Because I was looking at City before they played Spurs, but you can never really count that game because they always lose to Spurs. They look really good, but Spurs made them look really like suspect. So, are they going to run away with it? Are they going to go back into their old form? I don't know. Liverpool, they look like they can be efficient, and they are second half killers at the moment. Um, from last season to now, they seem to just have an answer for teams in the second half. They seem to like suss you out in the first half. Slot brings them in, gives them the information that they need, and they go out and one way or another they figure the team out that they're up against. I suppose for Liverpool, it's what they're going to do in the cups. I think they want to add a cup to the league. If they had just another league title, I think the fans would be happy. But I think they want another Champions League to show that dominance. Arsenal, do I see them getting over the line? I don't know. I don't know if they get over the line against. Again, the thing is with Arsenal, they are very strong. They are very solid at the back, and if they can sort out their attack, then and be fluid, that's the one thing that especially under Wenger years, they had a fluid attack. I think they've lost that fluidity, but they can still be deadly in front of goal. Chelsea, being World Club champions, you can't. You just do you know what? They're the World Club champions, but it's the manner that they did it and who they did it to. Um, you kind of got to respect them as a team. On a one-off game, they can do anything and do anyone, but can they consistently do it throughout the course of a season? I think that will be their that will be their Achilles heel. How consistent can they be? Because I feel like they've got the tools, the squad in terms to compete with what Liverpool's got in terms of their squad, and to compete with what City's got. So that's why I wanted to wait to see up until the international break to see how things settle before I try and make any sort of decision. Because for me, it's a little bit hard to tell where the league is gonna go right now. It's quite open for me.
I just quickly say something on QPR, Mitch, which is the week before the season started when they're at home to Brentford. I'd contacted QPR and I'd arranged to go and meet Andy Sinton. So I met him 3 weeks ago, who very kindly signed a shirt for me. If we remember him from a left winger for
Yep.
QPR and Sheffield Wednesday and Spurs, and he had a heart attack on Friday. So I'm
Oh,
sure he's probably not watching this pod, but if he does, then I have fingers crossed that
push
he's
out to him.
okay and that it wasn't the biscuits I gave to him that caused it, with any luck.
Thoughts go
Yeah,
out to
especially
Andy
speedy
Simmons.
recovery, man.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. Like I've gone there, as you guys probably know. I like getting old shirts that Spurs won things in signed. So he was part of our 1999 League Cup winning team.
All right.
Came on in the 90th minute, which might sound insignificant, but it was 0-0 at the time, and we won 1-0 with a goal about a minute later. So yeah, just thought I'd say that. Like, yeah, it's just met him a few weeks ago, and it's sad when that happens to anybody. He's not that old; like he's only like mid-50s. So.
Yeah, got to look after yourself, guys. Get yourself checked out as well.
100%. Thoughts go out to Andy Simmons. Hopefully, speedy recovery.
I did think I probably shouldn't say this, but sorry, I'm going to say it anyway. I did think that QPR's result the next day, A, won't have helped him at all, and B, I really hope the team talk before that game wasn't, guys, let's do this for Andy, and then they went and lost 7-1.
I hope not. I hope not.
Did you see that video of like one of the younger squad members? I think it was like 20, just going over and having a chat with the supporters.
Oh, yeah, I
it was
see that. He stepped
Yeah.
over the hoarding and everything, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't hear the discourse between them. But obviously, initially, the supporters are like, there's some
Yeah.
very direct pointing and grumbling, and he's like, and then kids really calm, and in the end, they're like patting him on the back and like, thanks for coming over. Very interesting, and what a mature young fella to be ready to go over and do such things. It's just interesting watch. You don't usually see something that interesting when supporters start spilling their guts. Usually
Yeah.
gets nasty, but it was really interesting to see.
Have to check that out. Have a look and see who it was.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, to be honest. It was just sort of a
Hopefully
retweet
he's
of a
got a bright
retweet.
future in the game.
Yeah,
It's
he
clearly
looks a
got his
bit
head up.
like he's like a young mixed race fella, big hair.
Okay. I don't know.
No
I'm not
idea what
sure.
his name is. Yeah, but I have seen the video. I was going to find it again and watch it with noise because I watched it on mute. But clearly, there's no real need to watch it with noise because you can't hear what he's saying anyway.
I've got it anyway.
Yeah.
It's
I've saved it on there.
Rayan Colley.
Rayan Colley. Okay.
He looks like sorry, maybe I shouldn't say. I was just coming out with things, saying things, and then thinking afterwards. Should I say? It looks a bit like Sideshow Bob.
He has got that style of hair, to be fair. I was trying to think of a player to relate him to, but nothing came to mind. But yeah, unless anybody's got.
Yeah, just seen it. He's literally gone over on his own just to talk to the fans. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's weird. When I first saw the start of the video, I thought, oh, something's going to go off here. And then you watch on and you're like, all right, fair play. Fair play to him. Anybody got anything else to add before we wrap?
Well, where do you think West Ham are going to finish, Stocky? Because I'd be worried for you right now. Well,
mate,
I'm hopeful.
Mate, well, I don't think you'll be too worried because I always hear how Tottenham Sports don't care about West Ham. We're nothing. So I think it's
He's
really
more worried for you, Stocks, than he is for West Ham.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good
Put it
stuff.
like this: if you know any really good doctors that can handle aneurysms on a weekly basis, give me their number. We're bad. We're bad. It's grim. If anyone wants to hear my anguish, tune into Where the Owls Sleep every week. You slowly see my mental degradation through the season.
How much can you put down to Potter though? Because I feel like what can he do here?
Oh yeah, mate, he's hampered badly. I mean, look, I think a couple of times we had who's got the worst owner debate, and Sullivan's just dipping his head at the line here just to get over in time to win that race. Yeah, it's bad. Like I'd give Potter 35% of the blame. I think there's other ways you could go about it, but he's seriously hamstrung. Like anyone that's watched West Ham,
I mean, that is the one thing about, apparently Paqueta might want to leave, but like if you sold him to Spurs, I think they'd burn the stadium down probably.
That could work.
Well, you don't own it, do you? So that might be a problem.
It won't matter anyway.
Well, do you know what we could do? We could burn it down, and we'll blame it on all the away supporters that the apparent security doesn't let in the home end. But that just sums up the whole apathy around the club. It really is. Yeah, it's not in a good place. But
you know what? I don't think we're massively different in a sense.
We're not, mate.
We maybe have spent a bit more money, but I think Spurs fans have the same frustrations. But the massive difference is it's just mitigated right now by the fact that we've got a manager that can pull results out with a team. I think you're going to see chalk and cheese from Tottenham last season. And if we had Ange right now, I think Spurs fans would be very similar to West Ham. They'd be close to burning the bloody stadium down as well, I think.
Mate, I said it many times over the summer and before that, when we've spoke about West Ham on our other channel. But the greatest trick David Moyes ever did was made us forget we had David Sullivan as our chairman. Because for 3 years we had real good times. And I think maybe you could be stumbling on the same thing with Thomas Frank. A bit of pragmatism, win the games. And once you win the games, you get the good feeling going forward and winning becomes a habit. Whereas where you had Ange and who we've had the past couple of times, just sucks down and despair drags you in, and then losing's a habit as well, just as winning is.
Yeah. Oh, we saw that last season with Spurs, right? Every week in the league was just the same every time.
Yeah.
I need to get Slaven Bilic back. I liked him. He was a good manager.
Yeah, we've already aged him about 20 years. I don't think he's got it.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back. He likes his life.
It was easy managing when you had Payet tearing it up.
Yeah, exactly.
I just quickly Googled him actually to see where he was. He's not managing, but I see he's one of about 500 managers who had a very short stint at Watford in the last few years.
Oh, really?
Mate, you could write a book on that these days, couldn't you?
Yeah, basket case in the club.
Yeah.
Basket.
Nice one, Romeo. I like that in the comments.
Yeah. I mean, in the second, I mean, with West Ham, he might win the championship maybe in his
That'd
second
be it.
season.
Yeah, the playoff final.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I really want to see Ange back though, because maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I want the rest of the world to realise like how bad a manager this guy actually is. He's
We was with you, mate, on air, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I
We was with you.
very early on
Solidarity.
that man was not a Premier League manager, and
No,
that is why I don't believe he'll ever get another Premier League job.
no.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because you're in this. I mean, last season was mental for us because it was the worst season I've ever seen, and it was the best season I've possibly ever seen. It was the biggest trophy we've won in my lifetime. So, where does that leave you? You have a terrible manager who's given you the best night you've had in like 40 years. I'm like, well, and our fan base were ripping each other apart with whether he should stay or whether he should go, and it was really bad. But at least now, I think there was a lot of the Ange fans were chipping away at Thomas Frank early on, and he's not Ange and he's not won anything, blah blah. But I think that's fading away now. I think we're beginning to unite a little bit behind Thomas Frank. He's just a class act. Class act.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks to Peter for that. You bunch. I don't know if that's aimed at us four or just
Don't know.
generally, but
Yeah.
thanks
No
for
idea.
your input, mate.
Thoroughly riveting stuff. Oh, yeah, I suppose I haven't done my bit. I still think Newcastle finished fourth. Last two games have been frustrating, but we have clearly been the better side in both games, even down to 10 against Liverpool. I thought we were the better side. We just lack cutting edge. Once Isaac is reintegrated, which I believe will be after the international break, it'll be a massive change. We still also need to sign a striker. And I fully believe we will, whichever way it goes, the way we're playing, the way we dominate teams. I think once we start putting the ball in the net, we're going to be a massive problem for most of the league. But like Chris said, when the European games filter in, then we see the real crux of the squad. I think we've quietly gone about our window very well, while people have been sort of making disparaging remarks about, oh, you've been turned down by 92 different players and stuff like that. I think the signings of Ramsey, Tiao, Ramsdale, I think all of them strengthen the squad massively. Alanga, same again. If we then get Isak back and also get a second striker in alongside him, we have backup that is quite decent in every single position. So I think it'll be a completely different situation once we get around to the Champions League games. And in the Champions League, I'm in very similar view as what Chris says Tottenham will do. We'll finish in that 9th to 24th kind of spot. And then what happens from there happens. I'll be happy with that. Good, nice couple of wins, good couple of midweek nights in the Champions League. And then we go again. Have to get Champions League again next year. Keep growing like we have been the last few seasons. That's the plan for me. I want to break the 70-point mark, go far in the domestic cups, and get out of the Champions League initial group stage. That's my goal for Newcastle this season.
What's going to happen with Isak in the next week?
He won't go. The owners flew over, especially today, to do the talks themselves. The talk is that they want him back in training come tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, or Tuesday or Wednesday morning, whenever the players are back in. He wants them back with the squad. He's the owner's favourite player. The owner has come out and said all the way along he's not for sale. We won't sell him now 100% because we won't get two strikers in. So it's either he starts training again this week, or in the international break it all gets moved over, and then you start seeing him get reintegrated from there.
I saw you had a £50 million bid rejected for Strand Larsen, which I think is mental on all sides.
I'm one of the weird Newcastle fans that doesn't mind that, because he got 14 league goals for Wolves last season.
I mean, he's all
And
right.
he's what, 22, 23 years old? As much as it's a lot of money, if someone's getting 14 Premier League goals in a Wolves side, there must be a good player in there. There must be a good striker in there somewhere. So I wouldn't want to pay more than 50. If not in the budget at 50, then I think we move on. But I wouldn't have minded 50 for him, to be honest.
This is the problem we've got now, right? In the last week of the window, you've got to massively overpay to get any decent players. I mean, some of the Spurs fans are talking about Morgan Rogers. I think, like, what world are you living in that you think we're going to rock up and take Morgan Rogers off Aston Villa? I hope next week.
You got to pay top dollar for that because they're going to want their PSR numbers so they can go and
Yeah,
spend.
Matt, they're going to want
100 million or something. I mean,
They're going to want their money because even if they sell him, they can't spend.
this is the problem. That they need time to get a replacement. They haven't really got anything. So to make it attractive, it's got to be just astronomical, silly money. Which, when have you ever known Spurs do that? I mean, I can't. I hope this time next week I look like an absolute idiot, and I'm going, I can't believe we've spent 120 million on Morgan Rogers. But I very much doubt it. Very much doubt it.
100%. And Villa and Chelsea are in that boat of they can only spend what they sell now, aren't they? That was like one of the secret clauses in that fine that they got from UEFA.
But Chelsea are the absolute goats of selling youth players, right? They are unbelievable. The amount of money that they generate from players who never made. I think they got 15 million for that Bashir Humphreys guy. Never played a minute in the first team. Go off to Burnley, 15 million. Like, unbelievable.
Chelsea would get like 120 million for someone like Downham off the back of what he's done in the league so far. And then the same player, Gomez kid that scored the winner today, they'd get 100 mil for the pair of them. They're ridiculously
and the thing is, they can still afford to lose players like what's his face, the goal scorer at Liverpool today. What's his name? Rio.
Oh yeah, he was one of their youth players. Yeah, Liverpool plucked him away about 18 months ago.
And they just lost him. That's just one that they lost.
Yeah,
did they even get any compensation for that move to Liverpool?
I think they do, but I think it's minimal.
Yeah, minimal.
He's going to be special, by the way. Like as much as we haven't seen loads of him, the way he shapes and the way he strikes the ball is well beyond his age. Like he played a couple of passes today. They were simple passes, 15, 20 yards, but they were punched in at speed. And that's the real sign of a player for me. Like, good dribblers can always dribble. It's the way you address the ball when you're playing a pass. Like his finish as it bobbled up that's top draw for someone of his age. He's going to be special.
And that's a hell of an atmosphere to come into as well, and still be that concise and sound in your technique.
I tell you, I tweeted. I don't often just randomly tweet. I normally responding to laws and stuff, but I did put a tweet out when I saw that and said, "Modern football in 10 seconds. A 16-year-old scores a last-minute winner, and while he's celebrating, I don't know if you noticed it in the pictures, but there's an adult woman in the crowd, a Newcastle fan, who's flicking the V's at a 16-year-old with both hands." That's football right there, and it's some little kid who's just celebrating the best moment of his life, and someone's just like telling him to F off.
Yeah, no, I didn't see any of that. I went full Terry McDermott. I was stocky. You'll notice I've got like a little board that I stand at sometimes in my kitchen where I can see the TV in the next room. And as soon as that goal went in, I just slumped over it. I couldn't flipping believe it, man.
Yeah, it's a tough one to take.
Yeah.
Football is the cruelest of mistresses, isn't it? Sometimes.
That's why we love the game.
Gives with one hand, then borrows someone else to take with two.
We come back next week for more.
Yeah, like fools.
It's the only thing in this world that can slap you in the face every week and you go back for more the following weekend.
Yeah, so 100%.
Unless you're a Tory MP.
Yeah. Right, guys, it has been fantastic. Good to be back. I love this show, so it's good to be back on Monday evenings, and we will continue throughout the season. So catch us back here, sort of more 9:30ish on a Monday evening. Also, Wednesdays, Rivals, 9:30, Spurs Kings TV back here for that. That's always a good show, always goes off. And
I hope we have many more weeks like this where all you boys have lost and Spurs have won. That'll be...
it won't last for long, don't worry. You're losing
it never does as a Spurs fan, mate. It never does.
Yeah, See how long that lasts. We've got Leeds this week, so if we don't win next weekend, then boy, maybe I'll have to change my prediction.
Maybe.
Spurs have actually got a run of relatively winnable games, so this is where I expect Spurs fans to get absolutely carried away and start telling everybody we're going to win the league, which we're 100% not.
All I will say is remember Ange's first 10 games.
Exactly, man. But we don't. We like to. You know what the internet's like, man. That people like to get carried away. So just see this Romeo guy in the chat who seems to think Ange's the greatest manager in the world. But there you go. Each to their own.
Hey, maybe that's the emotion rather than the facts, but
yeah,
sometimes you get lost in it. Like I said, also Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Me and Stocky are on Where the Owls Sleep. So if you fancy catching a bit of that, join us there. But for everybody that's been here, like, share, subscribe, and we will be back next week. Take care, people.
Good night.